So any more to add on keyword domains?
I'm waiting for your bonus factor.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
Okay, bonus factor, bounce rate. So we don't have bounce rate in here, and I know this has been like the one that we've had three or four like duplicate content, age. We've had these big changes. I'm looking at bounce rate, going. I know. I see a newer site, or I see myself pop up into the 4 to 10 range for the terms. I get up there into the top, whatever range it is. Usually it's 4 to 10 is what I've seen. And then something happens, and I don't know exactly what happens, if it's time on site, if it's bounce rate, whatever it is. But I know there's something going on there.
So I think that because it's so hard to calculate bounce rate, and because bounce rate can be a really noisy signal, right? And because bounce rate can mean one of a few things, right? If you instantly come back to the page, it could mean you got your answer, you're happy, you're satisfied. It could mean you didn't get your answer, you're unhappy, you don't like the results. I would suggest that there might be other things going on there. I mean, one of the things that I know, for example, is that the engineers have talked about basically SERP's abandonment as being a fantastic metric for them to find places where they suck. So if they know that on average, people who perform a search click through on one of the results 85% of the time, and 15% of the time they do something else.
Yep.
Then this is a great way for them to say, hey, wait a minute, 95% of the time people are clicking back or trying to refine their query. They must not be happy with our results, and so they change it.
That's a variation on bounce rate. Is
all this usage data, yeah, all that usage data I think fits together.
Usage data is another whole conversation, but I think that's playing a role, that's definitely playing a role.
That's the bounce rate of the SERPs, right?
And that's where the engines are headed in a way too, is they want to see what the ultimate, if a user gets to your site, are they happy?
Right.
Are they happy when they get there? Are they performing what they should be performing? Now, the length, they can't do that with length of stay or number of pages, because that's going to vary depending on what the site does.
And what you're targeting.
Directory, if you're going to, if I search to best of the web, I want to get to another site generally. I want to find something to go
to. Or DMOZ or anything like that. Yeah.
A directory, a short time on site is a good thing. I found what I wanted on their site, I went to the next site.
I'm out of there.
Where on an e-commerce site, same thing might apply. If it takes me 10 minutes to find what I'm looking for, that's a pretty poor user experience for the most part.
Might be a negative signal, yeah.
Yeah, so there's positives and negatives that can be associated with the same statistics. So it's not something that can be done statistically, but there's still a lot that can be derived from that data, user intent combined with
You're talking about hiring hundreds of the smartest engineers in the world and then applying them to this data and basically saying, what can you guys learn from this? I think neither
they're
of us
figuring something out. Yeah, they're much smarter than us.
That's right, and neither of us are going to claim like, oh, they definitely do this or they definitely don't do that.
Search abandonment rate is a good example. If people are coming to if your bounce rate is hugely high on your site, you will definitely see a drop. Like if you make it up into the top 10 I've seen it on terms. I've made it up into the top 10 for a pretty big phrase, and the abandonment rate was so high that Google just said, you know what, this is a crappy result. We're going to bounce this out of here, and now I'm sitting down at 40 or 50, and I got to climb my way back up into the top 10. So.
And I had a fascinating experience yesterday. I was meeting with a bunch of CEOs of startups in Seattle, and the guy who runs Picnic, which is this great, sort of image editing stuff that plugs in with Flickr and all these other services, was there, and he mentioned that it used to be, so his name, the name of Picnic, I believe, is I think it's N-I-K, right, at the end. But he noticed that they now rank #1 for Picnic with a C. And he was kind of going, what the heck is up with that? And it's the same phenomenon that you see when you search for Flickr with an E-R, right? Basically, Google said, oh, well, these guys were ranking #2, but it looks like everyone who searches for this is actually looking for these guys. Let's go ahead and make them #1.
I bet delicious, too. So you made it as a Web 2.0 startup.
That's right.
When you come up for the real word that you were trying to ultimately spell with your crazy domain name.
Yeah.
So
awesome.